We are Billy Goat Tales. We love you, fam. Hashtag givers gang. 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 We are Billy Goat Tales. We are Billy Goat Tales.
Welcome in, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Billy Goat Tales on a Sunday afternoon. We appreciate you very much. We got a packed show today. We're going to be talking gold with DanielDiaz, which we had him on our X Base, and it was fire. We got into some really good stuff. We're also going to be talking about Bitcoin. Is it going to pop or is it going to drop? Some people calling for 159. We'll get into that too. Also, we're getting some charts today. Darren Dustang's on the charts. And we have a special guest, community spotlight, Dark Crash. You know the guy that's always asking us to hydrate and drink water. We got all that going on, a lot more today. But first, let's say the team hellos. What's going on? Tex-Mex, Biomex.
Boom, 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 boom. What's going on, fam? Good to see you here on a Sunday. The 18th of May we're 2 weeks out, almost from actually a week out from the Bitcoin conference, just about a week out, a week and a couple days, and we're excited for it. You can see my background here, and welcome. Good to see you.
Jim, what's happening?
Doing the same, shifting gears, getting ready for the conference, packing up technical things and cameras and all of that. Looking forward to it.
Gonna be fire. And Dave Digital, what's going on, Dave?
What's going on, Billy? What's going on, team? You know, just watching this Bitcoin price, looking like we've been in a range. I think about a week ago we were in a range and then went a little bit lower. Red said he's gonna tank the price of Bitcoin, so we got to watch out for Red.
Speaking of Red, what's happening in your world, man?
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody in the chat. I see you all out there. Welcome to the Billy Goat Tales Show. Back to you, Billy.
Oh, speaking about the chat, Dave, let's say hi to chat.
Sure, man. Let's say hi to chat. Of course, we had Jesse was first in the chat. He says, "Hola, fam," and he hopes everybody had a great Sunday. We got Blocky in there, Mike Volmer. Redman was in there early. Crypto Princess was in there. Flowers to her. Dark Crash, third like he said. Tex-Mex Biomex, Alex O Crypto, 2K subs, he says, baby, woo! Got Dixie Flatline in there, Alexander G. There may or may not be conspiracy theories that Tony may have. I won't go into that. We've got Andrea in there, Taco Berry 1 collects now. I see what's going on there. It seems like there's been a little bit of a change to the name. Huh? Darren does things. Jimbo Fett in the chat screaming, "Hola!" KSH, Karen, Miss Harris in the chat. Darren does things again. I think I've almost covered everybody.
Freeway. Did you get Freeway?
I didn't see Freeway.
Freeway's in there. What's going
Freeway,
on? Freeway,
hola, Freeway. Crypto Coin Mindset is in the chat. That's probably Keith behind the mic. And DanielDiaz in the chat.
Yep, we got DanielDiaz behind stage. Let's hit the bubbles real quick. You ready for the bubbles, Red?
Let's go. All right, as you can see on the hour, we got a bunch of green in here. I like green. I like red better for buying, but green's good. I'll take it. Nothing really stands out. Everything's pretty much the same. On the daily, we got virtual hitting 14%. Look at this little banger right here. Got up to a little over $2. It's up 1,500% on the year. So good job, virtuals. We got Pi. Pi's up 6%. It's up one. It's up to 26 now. About to crack the top 20 on that one. Pepe is got a nice little pump with the rest of the memes. Let's see what else here. It's pretty much everything else is the same. Let's go on to the week. So on the weekly, yeah, it took a little hit this week. Last couple of days been good, but yeah, for the week overall, took a little hit, got a little red. Look at Pi dropped 33%. Yeah, Optimism took a little drops down 9 spots. Form this token continues to produce. All right, let's look at the month. All right, so on the month we got virtuals up to 233%. We got the Penguin community is up 64 spots on the month. Man, this thing is red hot as well. 169%. Good job for the Penguins. Bonk up 62%. As you can see, the memes are like a reoccurring theme here. Pepe up 80% on the month. Okay, we got Trump coin up 70% on the month. Let's see for the year. Where was I looking? I was looking in the weekly. I wanted to show you guys something here. Was it I think it might have been real quick, Billy. Let me just look at this because I found something earlier. Look at yeah, right here. 575%. What the heck is this coin? 53,000% for launch coin. Wow, whoever got into that, and you are smiling happy today. 53,000%.
What chain is that on?
Let's see, you can buy it on Mexi. I don't know the chain. I'd have to look at it, Billy. Let me go back.
Yeah, man, that thing. Imagine putting $100 in there, dude.
Oh yeah, and look at Mudang. We were talking about it last week. Mudang up 400.
I got a piece of that. I traded that. Did very well on Mudang.
785% from Mudang. So, and look at this one. This one is in Red's research. So if you were in the Red's research, you knew about this coin, and I spoke about it way before it was pumping.
Well, how do you get in Red's research?
Well, you do that by buying a Billy Goat Tales NFT, and that will see, because the Reds research token gated. So you have to have the NFT to actually get into that part of the Discord. And Billy's Investments is always in there, and I'm sure he can speak about that later on. But yeah, you'll get access to those 2 channels. You'll get the alpha that you need to go ahead and make money in crypto.
Awesome.
Darren says launch coins on Sol.
It's on Sol.
That's what Darren was saying.
Cool. Well, let's keep moving. Biomex, you want to do a fear and greed, a market update?
Let's do it. All right, on today's market update, we've got Bitcoin, which just on the 24-hour just flipped from red to green. The 1 hour and the 7-day are all green, just a little bit. The 7-day is at 0.07, so 0.07. Oh, it just switched to 0.04 up on the 7-day. But so, you know, things have been up and down and all around, but Bitcoin's still up on the weekly. Yep. And Ethereum is a little bit down, 3.9. Sorry, guys, 3.9%. There's an inside joke there, folks. Ethereum is down, but it's up on the 1 hour. And let's see, XRP for all those 589, Wick 589. Are you in the chat yet? But our XRP fans, XRP is up all across the board. And the total market cap is 3.27 trillion, which is up 004 as well. The fear and greed is at 66, which is a little bit down, but it was up in the 70s all last week and last weekend. So it's still on the higher end. BNB up a little bit on the hourly, just slightly down on the rest. Solana, the same thing, up on the 24 and the hourly and down slightly. So everything's kind of following Bitcoin's move. Our Dogecoin is up on the 24-hour. It's a little bit higher than others, 3.48%, but still down on the weekly. And Cardano, one of our favorites, is sadly it's down right now 8% on the weekly, but it's slightly up now on the hourly. So let's look at our categories. And we learned last week that rehypothecated crypto is really crypto that's out on loan. People used it as leverage and loaned out and maybe taken a loan and bought some more Bitcoin or did something else with it, maybe bought a house or who knows what. But that's what rehypothecated crypto is. So the loan market on crypto is pretty high. Look at that average that's a significantly large average. So people must be bullish if they're taking loans on their crypto and not worried about it going down and getting rugged. So we've got AI and big data is up 3%, 3.6%. Real world assets are down slightly. Gaming is slightly up. And so, just about everything is following the Bitcoin chart and moves similar. I don't know if there's anything else we want to cover right now, because I know we have our guests, so we might as well get into that here shortly. But I do want to remind people, if you do jump in our Discord, there are some videos on how to attach your NFT wallet or how to connect your wallet so that you gain that role so that you can jump into Billy's investments and Red's research. So if you have an NFT already, or if you get one, there's some videos in there, or you can create a ticket. We'll walk you through how to connect your Cardano wallet so that you have access to those channels.
Amen. Good job, Tony. So Dave, you ready to do a little spotlight for our guest? We'll bring our guest up after you roll it.
Yes.
All right, we have DanielDiaz in the house, becoming our resident gold expert. We appreciate you. What's going on, Daniel?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Welcome, Daniel. Welcome.
Man, our X Space with you on it was fire. It was great conversation. So we appreciate you bringing all the hot alpha to the X Space and today to the show too, because I think a lot of people, there's probably some people that were in our X Space that are going to be right here on the YouTube channel as well. But man, some of the stuff that you talked about just excited me. And I said, well, we got to bring him back on and bring him on the YouTube channel.
Absolutely. I was just sharing the truth, right? Like none of the stuff that I was talking about was conspiracy theories. It's recorded history. And, we just need to educate the people. We got 2 generations of Americans that have been living on a fiat economy and they don't know what money was. Humanity knew what money was for 4,000 years. And then we have a 54-year experiment that's failing. So, and nobody really understands. Very small amount of people and percentage of people understand what money is versus investments versus currency. So that all I was doing was sharing the truth.
Yeah, man. No, it was good stuff. So going back to, so we had the FDR was basically started the first little piece of that whole gold change out. And then of course, Nixon kind of finished it up. But can you talk about like what was the purpose and function of that whole thing anyways, getting us off the gold standard?
Yeah, it actually goes further back.
Okay.
You want to guess how far back it goes?
Well, our country is what, 230, 40 years old. So does it go that far back?
No, not that far back, but it goes to the Civil War.
Okay.
Prior to 1870, the Supreme Court held in a ruling. There was a question that came up whether the federal government could make greenbacks legal tender to pay the soldiers during the Civil War, and the Supreme Court ruled no. The Supreme Court ruled in 1870 that only gold and silver, because that was the original intent of the founding fathers and what the Constitution says. In fact, the Constitution says that 420 grains of silver is an ounce and so forth, was legal tender. So Ulysses S. Grant didn't like that because we didn't have enough gold and silver to pay for the war. So what did he do? A year later, he stacked the courts with 2 Supreme Court justices, and in 1871, 100 years before we got off the gold standard, they made paper money legal tender, even though it was ruled unconstitutional the year before. So that is when we started losing control of our monetary system because of war. And if you know Ray Dalio and the rise and fall of nations typically rise when they have a sound money economy, when they use gold and silver. Then they start expanding, they start investing in the public works, and to maintain their prominence and to maintain their strength, they start going to the wars. And to fund the wars, to fund the public projects, to fund the welfare programs, they start debasing. And back then they debased the currency by doing clipping. The Romans clipped coins, or they started mixing copper with gold, debasing the currency and decreasing the value. It happened with Athens, was the first instance of debasing when the Spartans took over the gold mines during the Peloponnesian War. It happened during the Roman era. And every single nation that used sound money and then got into expansion of war to maintain their empire eventually collapsed. And that's what happened during the Civil War. It was war that caused us to get off of sound money constrains and restricts the expansion of government. The minute you get off of sound money, you get the deficit spending, you get the debasement and the stealing of the wealth of the people. So that's where it started. And then we have the Federal Reserve. That was the Federal Reserve Act in 1913, where prior to the Federal Reserve, we had a 1-to-1 back currency. So a $20 bill would get you a $20 gold piece, which was just shy of an ounce. It was like 0.967 ounces, I think it was, of gold. And then the minute the Federal Reserve took over, they debased the currency, printing, I think it was 40% more currency, or was it 60%? I can do the math quick. Hold on. 57. So 60%. They based the currency by 60%. And then we had the boom and bust cycle of the Great Depression. Ben Bernanke, in a hearing with Ron Paul, admitted that the Federal Reserve was responsible for the Great Depression. And then after we defaulted on our debt, the government doesn't like admitting that we defaulted on our debt, but we couldn't pay all the debt we owned in gold. So FDR in 1933 passed his executive order making it illegal for Americans to own gold, and that we had to voluntarily turn it in. There was never an instance where the government came in and confiscated gold. It was by choice, and a lot of people chose not to turn in their gold. They hid it, or they turned in the jewelry. Jewelry wasn't a part of the executive order. That's why I forget that actress's name from the famous in the 60s to the 70s. She would wear over $100,000 worth of gold and diamonds and everything. She would wear her wealth. And then we got off of a 90% silver standard in 1965 because it was becoming too expensive to mint silver coinage. And then finally, because we printed during the Bretton Woods system, that we used the dollar as the exchange for the gold and silver, because the dollar was as good as gold. And we had like 2/3 or more than 2/3 of the world's gold reserves after World War I and World War II. After World War II, de Gaulle demanded that we get our gold, their gold back. So they sent in the dollars, we sent in the gold, and it was unsustainable. And the whole Bretton Woods system was going to collapse. So Nixon, on an emergency broadcast, temporarily stopped the redeemability of gold bullion for dollars for foreign nations. And we've been on a fiat standard ever since. And because every single nation pegged their currency to the dollar, when we got off the gold standard, the whole world got off the gold standard. So it created the fiat economy, which is a global theft ring where every country prints their currency into oblivion to steal the wealth of the people. And here we are today, and Satoshi Nakamoto created the blockchain technology so that we could own digitally, because we're in a digital world now. And if you read the emails back and forth, he was truly a libertarian. He wanted to create a peer-to-peer economic system that the government wouldn't control. Part of the reason why he or they stayed anonymous. So they wouldn't be able to track him down and force him to change the code or whatnot. I mean, obviously you can change the code with 51% approval, but it's very difficult to get that amongst the miners and those who have the hash power. But blockchain technology allowed gold and silver to come into the 21st century, because gold, that was one of the number one complaints. Gold and silver, especially gold, is too heavy and dense. That's why they created currency. And if you know how gold currency started, it was people giving their gold to a goldsmith because he had the vault. And then the goldsmith would write a claim check against that gold that was in his vault. And throughout time, the goldsmiths realized, hey, nobody's really coming and getting their gold back. So the goldsmiths started fractionally reserving the gold. And that's where fractional reserve banking came from, and they started creating more currency, and then there was gold in the vaults, and that's the whole story. About 400 or 500 years ago, that's when that started. So they just continued doing it in 1913, and then with fiat currency, when there is no assets to claim, it's just debt. Every single dollar in existence, every single euro, every single yen is just a debt IOU that is owed, and there are no assets. The dollar is a liability. And that liability keeps getting printed and expanded. The simplest definition of inflation is the printing and expansion of the currency supply. The free market is very efficient. You print more currency. And I said this on the X Space. All cryptocurrency, all stocks, all investments are basically based upon the amount of supply. It's completely tied to fiat currency. So the more currency you print, the higher the stock market goes, the higher Bitcoin goes, the higher all assets go, and the higher that gold goes, because gold is just a rock. It sits there, creates no yield, nothing in and of itself. It is measured against other currencies. Every other currency has a valuation of gold, and we are in America, so we think of gold and dollar prices. No, gold is a central monetary unit of which all other assets and currencies measure itself. And that's why you use it as a store of value, not a wealth generation asset. That's not what gold and silver is for. Bitcoin, if I had time, I'd be trading markets. I'm a little too busy trying to change legislation and change the world here. But I used to be a stockbroker, and I could. But when I do have a little bit of time and I can read the charts and I do my own TA, I jump into Bitcoin, jump out of Bitcoin, jump in XLM or whatever other assets on my exchange that I use. And I use Kinesis because they use gold and silver as their primary monetary unit versus like others use USDC or USDT. So that's a quick. I mean, not quick. That's a pretty thorough answer to your question.
No, yeah, it is. And just for everybody, we got to know Daniel through Crypto Coin Mindset, Keith's show over there. And so just wanted to make sure we're giving a shout out to Keith and making the connection because what you bring to the table is just a whole bunch of history, but also what's going on with gold. And you're a Bitcoiner. So let me ask you on the Bitcoin side, you've been in the Bitcoin game. You were a miner before, you said on the X Space. So you fully understand the blockchain. You fully understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, as well as this whole gold thing. So as a store of value, you've seen it. You've seen Bitcoin. You've seen those people that came in that bought Bitcoin at $1,000, $500, $3,000. And today it's over $100,000. What's your thought on it as a store of value compared to gold?
So store of value, look, Bitcoin is a store of value and assets are a store of value because it multiplies your economic energy. So let me back up and explain what money is. And let me ask a question to you guys. What is our most important asset or resource?
Energy.
Time.
Time. Yeah, time.
Because we have a finite amount of it. The minute we spend our time, we can't get it back. And that's it. And what is our time? Our time is our economic energy. And I said this in my speech in New Hampshire at the Liberty Forum. When you are using your time, whether it's praying, focusing on heaven, whether it's to build physical wealth, or whether it's to come up with ideas and thought processes and creating new philosophies, where you put your time and your economic energy is where you store your wealth. If you're a nun or a priest or a pastor or a devout Christian, you're putting your treasures in heaven. You're spending your economic energy storing your treasures in heaven. If you are a businessman or you got side hustles, you're building your treasures on earth. And if you are a philosopher or a thinker, you're building a philosophy or an idea that should last for generations or millennia. And that is what economic energy is. So let's focus on our wealth building. Where do you want to store your economic energy? Well, money is what we chose, not government. We, the people, realized that it's hard to mine gold and silver, especially back then, refine it. And then that was a good store of value. The amount of economic energy it takes to get gold out, refine it, and make it is a great store of value. Plus, the only way gold is created is through supernovas. The amount of energy required to make gold is intense. So think about the compactness of gold. I can hold $100,000 in my hand with I forget how many ounces of gold that would be, but I can hold it in my hand. It's extremely dense. And Bitcoin is a digital version. They call it digital gold, but to me, gold is money, and Bitcoin is the best investment, that best wealth multiplier or economic energy multiplier that's been ever contrived by man. Nothing else has increased wealth as much as Bitcoin, especially if you got in early on and you were mining it on an old 1995 computer, that CPUs, you can mine like 50 Bitcoins, right? So when it comes to Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, real estate, the stock market, they're all dependent on the injection of fiat currency, and time equals money, literally. And where you put your economic energy or your time is where you should store your wealth. And then when you have the opportunity and have enough to invest with Bitcoin, you can buy as little as a few dollars, or any other digital asset, a few dollars. And that one cryptocurrency you guys were showing that increased, I don't know, what did he say, 50,000%? I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's a great way to multiply your energy. If you go back in time, if you were using a stick and a pole trying to catch fish, you were exerting a lot of energy. Then you created the fishing pole, and the fishing pole multiplied the economic energy. And then you got a boat with nets, and that multiplied your economic energy. Then the steam and trawlers and everything. Same thing with manufacturing. You're at home trying to create something, you create an invention, you're building it. It exerts a lot of economic energy, and you find ways to multiply that economic energy. Bitcoin and investment tools are a great way to multiply your economic energy, to stay above the stealing of your wealth through inflation and the printing of debt. So when you ask me a question, I want to give a full context. And that's why I started with economic energy. And Bitcoin as a store of value, if you consider it store of value as multiplying your economic energy. But I think of store of value as stable money. And I don't Bitcoin meets all the 7 qualifications of money that Mike Maloney puts out there, but I add a third qualification to money, which is being stable, which Bitcoin doesn't meet. So maybe in the future, when the whole world's using Bitcoin and it's stable and it trades within a range, and the 4-year cycle's broken, then maybe we can call it money. But right now, it's a wealth generating asset, like anything else that isn't gold and silver.
Amazing. So as it a store of value for Bitcoin, you compare it at a higher level than gold for a store of value?
I call it a wealth generating asset.
Yeah.
Gold and silver is where you store your wealth. Everything else is where you multiply your wealth, right? So there is an investment model. If you like, I had about a year and a half ago, I changed the way I view money and currency and everything else. I view gold and silver, an ounce of gold, an ounce of silver, as as a central monetary unit of which all other assets measure itself, especially gold. Gold has always maintained and beaten inflation better than silver. So then you take on the trading view an ounce of gold and compare it, or you can even do a gram of gold, whatever you want, but just gold in general, and compare it to an asset like a share of Dow Jones, a share of the S&P 500, a share of Bitcoin. And if you zoom out, especially with the S&P 500 or the stock market and other assets, real estate, you'll notice that when there's the gold to asset ratio, there's ups and downs. And it's like 20, 30, 40, 50 year periods when gold is, the asset is overpriced. The ratio is extremely high. And when you start seeing that, it takes weeks, months, years to get there. When you start seeing it peaking out at the top of that ratio, that's when you sell your asset, your stocks, your crypto, whatever, you put it in the gold, and you wait for the asset ratio to drop below to near the bottom ratio of gold to that asset. Once it gets near that bottom ratio, you either DCA in or you sell all your gold and you put it into that. And then if you zoom out and cut out the waiting period between the ups and downs and you stack it on top, right? You sell here, so you've increased your economic energy. It goes down here, and then you buy it here and it increases. It's compounding and creating wealth. It's called wealth cycling. So if you use gold and silver as your wealth preserving asset, waiting and watching the charts and the ratios of gold and silver, you can exponentially increase your wealth by using gold as your central monetary unit versus the currency, which is losing and stealing your wealth at around 10% a year. compounded.
Yeah, man. So for the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, one of the ways you could do that in your model could be, hey, you could put your money in USDC or Tether, or you could put your money in gold as a store of value during the bear, right? Because a lot of people this cycle and probably last cycle, for us, this is our second full cycle. So be like, okay, we made good profits on Bitcoin. Now, what do we do with these profits? So a lot of people are looking at real estate. I'm sure people are looking at gold. And some people just say, I'm going to stake it, right? I'm going to put it in USDC, make my 4.5% or 4% and stake it and wait for the new bottom with this new cycle. I call it a new cycle simply because there's been so many firsts, and it's a little different than all the other cycles with all the mass adoption has occurred. But you have to do something with it, right? So, or you can just keep it in Bitcoin, but you're definitely going to have a pullback, right?
Yeah, I used to be a Bitcoin maxi and a true hodler, and then I experienced my first pullback. I'm like, never doing that again. And that was before I knew about gold and silver as money. And I bought into the whole idea that Bitcoin is the new gold, and that when the Ukrainian war happened, Bitcoin maxi, I'm like, oh great, Bitcoin's going to take off. Nope. It went from like 47,000 down to 38,000. I got out at 42, and and then it went even further down after Luna and then FTX, and then I kind of shut down my crypto mining company and transitioned to gold and silver.
So basically, though, that gold is your stable coin.
Gold is money. Yeah, gold is my stable coin.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And do you think that it's similar if we use a digital version like Pax Gold or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. The only issue I have with Pax G and Tether Gold is that you can't redeem it unless you have 400 ounces, which is like $1 million or something like that. What's the math there now? I haven't done that math in a while. So 400 times 3,200. Yeah. Now, when I first did that math, it was like 800,000. Now it's 1.28 million. So unless you have 1.28 million in Pax G and Tether Gold and you want to physically redeem it, you can't. So I like using Kinesis. Kinesis allows you to redeem up to 100 grams of gold or 200 ounces of silver. You have the UPMA that allows you to redeem an ounce of gold or an ounce of silver. There's a few other platforms.
What is that? Kinesis?
Kinesis is a gold and silver company that has digital assets. In fact, if you want, I can log in and hide my assets and show you what it looks like. But Kinesis is...
Yeah, man.
Hold on. Let me log in. Kinesis is the platform I've been using for the last 2 years to do most of my trading, because instead of the platform taking all of the exchange fees like Binance and all that, they have a 22 basis point charge, which is in line with Binance.us and other exchanges. They don't have a tier where the more you trade, the lower the fee, but I don't care because I'm getting a yield back. Because they share 57.5% of all the transactions to the users. And there's 5 different yields you can get. So let me log in and show you what the platform looks like, and let me hide my assets.
So it's just like do you have to do KYC there?
KYC, they're a global company. Around the rest of the world, they have a debit card, so you can spend your gold and silver. And I know they're going to be coming out with a virtual debit card in the U.S. shortly. They had a virtual debit card twice in the U.S., but during the Biden administration, I forget what the program was. They made it very difficult for crypto companies to operate in the U.S. So Metropolitan Bank of New York canceled their contract with Kinesis, and then we had a bank account with Bank of America. They canceled it there. So what Kinesis decided to do was buy a U.S. bank, so that would never happen again. So that's going to be coming online hopefully by the end of this quarter is what I'm hearing. So let me go ahead and share my screen so you can see video. No, share screen. Here it is. And then screen. There you are. Share. All right.
We got too many people hitting the button. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right, so this is the dashboard, the home dashboard. See, gold and silver are the main unit, and then they have the Kinesis Velocity token. So the Kinesis Velocity token would be, I don't know if there's an equivalent in another exchange. Maybe there are, where you get a yield from from all the exchange fees, 20% of the entire fee pool, then dollar and so forth. So if we look at all the assets. Actually, let me go to the exchange since people are more. These are all the assets you can trade. Multiple fiat currencies: Bitcoin, XRP, Dash, Ethereum. What else do they have in here? Bitcoin Cash, XLM, XDC, USDC. What else? They have a bunch of different things.
A lot of ISO coins, probably.
Yes, ISO. A lot of ISO coins. Gala, Fed, Anchor, 1 inch. So they have a bunch of different assets you can trade on the exchange. But if you notice, KAU is pretty. You can trade KAU with most of them. This is not all of them, but if I type in just KAU, let's see, KAU. Go to no. Let me go back. Just click here. KAU. There. So KAU, you can trade with almost all the different fiat currencies and a lot of different assets. USD1 is so Kinesis launched. I don't know why it's not showing on the stable coin charts, but Kinesis has the third largest stable coin in the world right now. They launched a stable coin with $12 billion in circulation and backed by $16 billion. It's the only stable coin insured as well. So you can actually go to the CoinGecko, type in USD1. It was called USD1 until Trump launched the exact same token with the same handle, so they rebranded it as Currency One. But USD1 is Kinesis's main stable coin. It's on the Ethereum blockchain and the their Stellar blockchain. They also have it in a couple of the centralized exchanges. So let me show you the yields.
So this is like in Coinbase, right? So it's an exchange.
Right.
But you're saying that if you buy gold with this, you can actually cash it in for gold with these guys?
Yeah, you can redeem it. I'll show you the redeem it, but let me show you the fees first. So this is called the master fee pool. This month, there's been $5.16 million in fees generated, and we're just past the halfway mark. So these are all the different fees. The holder's yield. The holder's yield is you just hold your money in gold and silver, and you get a yield. It's about 10% of the pool. Then there's a referrals pool. You get 7.5% of any of your. It's only one level referrals transaction fees. Then there's the KVT pool. That's the biggest. That's 20%, $1 million, and there's only 300,000 tokens. So you can do the math of how much you get per KVT. Then there's the velocity pool. You get 5% of all the transactions, like a cash back. 5% of all the transactions back. And then this is the partners pool. Like my organization is Cities for Sound Money. We are a partner, so we get a cut of the partners pool, which instead of getting 7.5% on the referral, we get 10%, and they get 25% of the pool, and then Kinesis gets 15% of the pool. So it's a self-generating system, and they share 57.5% with the user. Oh, and the minter's yield. The minter's pool is when you want to add new gold. If you have a lot of money and you want to buy new gold, it's 100-gram contracts. You go to the mint, and then you mint new gold into the system, which increases the circulating supply of gold and silver into the system. So right now they have $167 million in gold and $120 million in silver in the system. Now
That's for you. That's for you, Jimmy. You get to mint new gold
into the system. Yeah. And then you get a yield on whatever you mint. So the way the minter yield work, the more gold you mint, you basically figure out what that is compared to the 1.63 million grams that they have in the system, and you get a cut of those yields. And there was a question. I said I want to show you the yields first, and I forget what the question was. About
the redemption.
Redemption. Yeah. So let me show you the redemption. I think it's count detailed. No.
And I pulled up the main website, and I can show some of that's the stuff that you're talking about, Daniel, on visually to the screen in a little bit once we're done with what you're showing.
Absolutely. And if anybody watches, I'm going to send you guys a link for a referral code to Citizens Sound Money to support our organization. So if any of you guys join and you want to be a part of Kinesis, start trading gold and silver, and any of your viewers, I'd appreciate it if you guys share that link. So here's how you redeem it, right?
Yeah,
so if you
of course.
Want to redeem it, you do 100 grams, and then you choose which which of the vaults that are hubs that you can get it from. I think in the United States we have New York, and then Toronto in North America. So these are the hubs where you can redeem your gold, or you can go to the Kinesis Bullion store if you don't have 100 grand. Kinesis Bullion. They have a bullion business in the United States only for U.S. citizens, and if you want to buy less than 100 grams of gold, you can go to the store, click on gold, and they have orums, and they have ounces and half ounces and grams and so forth. They're sold out. They're going to be 5 grams. And then let's say you want to buy this, which is way less than 100 grams. You add it to cart. You check out. Well, when you check, let me log in and then show you. You can pay with Kinesis Silver, Kinesis Gold. So that's a workaround for U.S. citizens to be able to
physically get your gold out if you don't
Yeah.
have that threshold, right?
Yep, without the 100 gram or whatnot. Hold on.
Well, while we're going into it, and I know that you mentioned they're on Stellar, so the Kinesis blockchain is built off Stellar's technology. So
Yeah, it's a hard fork. It's a hard fork of the Stellar blockchain. It won't let me log in, saying I need to verify. So Kinesis has very robust compliance department. It says I need to verify again, and I work for C4SM, and we're partners with Kinesis. So if I sent quite a bit of money off chain and then brought it back on chain, they froze my account. Which, look, I know for DeFi guys it's annoying, but they are a global company with compliance in multiple continents, and they have very strict compliance. So as soon as we're done with this interview, I will go and verify my Bullion account. But essentially, you can get around the 200 asset. And then if you have an account with Kinesis, they have a metal back, like a cashback program. And then you can buy anything you want. Like Walmart, you get up to 2% back paid in gold, 5% on trip.com and so forth. And you don't use a debit card. You can use any debit card. You just use this link, Creeps Cookie. You buy your normal stuff through the metal back program, and voila. And if you have businesses, you can accept gold and silver payments through their API. So I have a side hustle. I sell gold and silver. That's the name of my company as a side hustle. So that's Kinesis.
That's awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and just share real quick. Let me pull this off and add to stage. So you were talking about the fees and stuff. So here's some of the storage fees, as you're mentioning, 0% on Kinesis, and there's some other ones on some of these other sites. And there's also these other modern sites. So you can earn a yield on Kinesis. You can redeem. There's the same things that Daniel was talking about. So you can go to kinesis.money to find out more, and DYOR. But thank you, Daniel, for that resource.
Absolutely. I just shared in private chat the C4SM referral code. So if anybody wants to sign up for Kinesis and support the mission of making gold and silver a legal tender around the world again, please use that link.
Sure. Let me post that into the chat.
Those are other platforms. We use the United Precious Metals Association and other things, but I have most of my wealth on here because it's cryptocurrency, and I was a blockchain consultant. I like trading crypto with gold and so forth. You can use any platform. I think Kinesis is on KuCoin. I think KuCoin and Bybit. I forget. You can look on CoinGecko or MarketCap and see what exchanges they're on. So, any other questions? Because I got to get going in 17 minutes.
No, sorry about that. My dog was actually barking, so sorry about that, man.
No worries. I didn't hear the dog. Yeah, go ahead.
No,
I know that we got into a lot of stuff on our Tuesday night X Space, and just looking at your LinkedIn profile and just getting to know you a little bit more. Would you say some of your upbringing and just, I don't know, for me, I'm a second generation American citizen. My grandparents on my dad's side moved from Mexico up to the United States, and were kind of self-built and always had a value for money and a value for not wasting and protecting and growing. And like you're saying, using your time wisely to have that energy grow. Would you say that you find that a lot of people who maybe are first generation, maybe second generation, if they had that exposure, are a little bit more passionate about topics like investing and protecting wealth and stuff like that than maybe just the average citizen?
Yeah, I think even more so from countries where people were persecuted or coming from socialist or communist governments. Because if you talk to a lot of Eastern European migrants, either migrants themselves or first generation, and they were told stories about how the communist regime stole all their assets. I mean, that's why I do what I do, right? My family had everything taken from them, their land, their property, even all their clothes, except like for the clothes on their back when they fled Cuba. And America provided my grandfather. I've actually, I did a speech, and my mother updated me because I missed some information. I misunderstood some information about my grandfather did. I thought my grandfather started working for a construction company, pouring cement because he did construction in Cuba, and then eventually bought the company. No, I was wrong about that. My grandfather came to America, was working 3 jobs for years. They would buy pies, cut it up for extra money. And then he was saving up money to buy a construction. So he built his own business. I thought he bought a business. That was some information. So I got to change my speech.
Wow.
But America afforded the true American dream. I didn't realize he was the entrepreneur that started the construction company. And America, I mean, that's even more powerful to my reason for doing this. America provided all the opportunities for migrants who came from a communist country that had nothing. They were buying pies from Sedano's, Cuban grocery store in Miami, cutting up and selling to construction workers for extra money. And my grandfather working 3 jobs. Man, 3 jobs a day is what a lot of people in America, because 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and they have to have multiple side hustles, multiple jobs. But back then in the 60s, we were still on a gold standard, 3 jobs to get to where he needed to get. And then he built the construction company, sold it in the 80s, and left an inheritance for our family. So, yeah, I think that people that come from companies where they were suffering either economically or through political oppression, they have an incentive to work hard because the American dream is real. The American dream is what my family built when they had nothing. And I think a lot of Mexicans that come up from Mexico are looking for the same thing, but not everybody. The Cubans coming from Cuba now, they have that socialist mindset. Those who have been raised in socialism for decades, they come here wanting freedom and liberty, but they expect the government to continue to take care of them. Or they just want to take care of this. They want to take advantage of the social program. So not all immigrants come over and are interested in finance. They want to come over and take advantage of some of the welfare programs, which is, that's a different conversation for another time. But for the most part, I think those who are entrepreneurial, those who suffered under socialist or communist regimes that hated that and wanted freedom and economic freedom, that those are the ones who are entrepreneurs and come here for the American dream.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree. Obviously, I kind of brought up, and that's similar to my grandparents' story. And they were in El Paso, Texas. They built a 1-room, not 1 bedroom, 1-room adobe house. And then as they grew and had time, they built it themselves. They added another bedroom, and so therefore, and then my grandfather ended up building his own construction company, and to the point where he donated 2 museums to the city and was mayor pro tem. And yeah, so that work ethic I can see in you. Obviously, in our friends Sin City Crypto, David, his parents immigrated, and he's got a strong work ethic. I just noticed that trend, and just appreciate your passion that you have for not just gold and money, but also the stuff that you do on a political spectrum.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And the reason I do that is because at the age of 16, when I was told the stories of what my family went through, I promised myself I would never allow what happened to my family's country happening to my country. So since the age of 16, I've been a political activist, consultant, running super PACs, working on presidential campaigns, gubernatorial, senatorial, local, municipal, and everything. So I have most of my life I've been a political activist, lobbyist, and prior to recently, it was mostly ideological and Christian issues, which is a lot easier to lobby for than financial issues. Financial issues are a lot of special interests that have a lot more money than a small nonprofit. So it's amazing what we've been able to accomplish against the banking lobby, insurance lobby, and all the other interests that aren't the biggest fan of making gold and silver legal tender, because it takes away the capital that they'll be able to use to make more currency, more profits. So yeah, it's an uphill battle, but we're winning state by state. We have 10 states now that have made gold and silver legal tender.
See, my goal is to have my grandkids talk about me the way you guys talk about your grandfathers. That's my goal. I want to be that guy. That's what I'm always trying to do, is be the guy that is part of that story, right? That, hey man, this guy took the risk. He built the businesses. He created, he gave us our family history and lineage, the start, right?
Yeah.
The start of it all. So,
Absolutely.
well, listen, Daniel, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for popping on. I know you're busy. We'll do it again sometime. So, and we shared out your link, and if we can help in any way, I'm going to check out that Kinesis myself. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's really cool. So for our chat, if you guys haven't checked it out, check it out. It's and I didn't know it was an exchange, and you can cash it in for your gold. Actually cash it in and get gold. That's amazing. So
yeah, absolutely. Before I go, I just want to say one last thing. Let's call it financial estate planning advice. I recommend every person, whether you're a millionaire or you're just starting with only $500 in your bank, open up a trust. Open up a living revocable trust and funnel all your assets through the trust, because trusts make your assets private. And when you pass away, you don't want all your assets being public through probate, because if you have a will, it still has to go through the courts. The only way to get away from the courts looking into your assets, your creditors seeing your assets when you pass, is through a living revocable trust. And then there's other strategies where you set up an operation LLC for you and your family. You have a normal company producing income, and then you have an asset LLC where you just put your assets to protect it from creditors. If you do something silly and they're trying to come after you, you own nothing. The trust owns two companies. One company owns everything that's protected from the top and the bottom, and the other LLC is where you funnel all your income so that you can get K1s and so forth as an S corp. And that's more. We can get into that later. But along with building your wealth with gold and silver and multiplying your economic energy through investments like Bitcoin and so forth, you need to protect your family. You need to protect your own wealth. And that would be the only and last advice before I get going. I got to get out of here shortly.
Well, we did a X space on similar topic to that. Maybe we should have you on and do another roundtable and talk people through that.
Yeah, absolutely. And for all your listeners, and including you guys, if you don't have a trust, what are you waiting for? You can go to willandtrust.com, open up a living revocable trust with a will, Passover, pour over will, HIPAA, power of attorney, your life directive in case something happens. And for less than $500, you'll protect your entire family, protect all your assets, and then you start learning how to protect your income and your assets through different LLCs, and then even creating a home office. You don't need to be rich to have your own family office, and then you can start having board meetings with your family, forces your family to come together, talk about business, potentially getting your family together. Look, I'm all about building wealth and protecting your family and leaving a legacy. A trust, the number one reason for a trust is to leave a legacy after you pass away and to protect your privacy. So that's all I want to say. There's a lot more than just building wealth and using gold and silver, and it's protecting it and leaving a legacy.
Amen. No doubt about it. Yeah. Jimmy's big trust guy on our team too. We did have a space about it, but you're right, Tony. It's been long enough. We should probably revisit that. But Daniel, thank you for coming, man. We got to keep moving ourselves. We know you're busy, so I appreciate it, man. You're always welcome on Billy Goat Tales. So we appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Looking forward to being on again.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And the chat guys are really loving Daniel. I've seen nothing but great comments.
Yep.
I knew that was coming. Well, let's say hi to chat real quick, Dave, and then we'll do Red's have Red talk about the book, and then we'll run into DDT, and then we'll get right into Crash.
Alrighty, I think we saw Dutchy show up. Stupid Bitcoin showed up. He says cheers. Cryptic Crap Man is in there. Darren does things. Are you coming back on, Daryl? I don't know if I see you or Darren. I don't see you in the back. Trade Intuition. Joe showed up. He has great things to say about Daniel. Jay Violet's here. Platsmack is here. Karen is still here. Andy is still here. Taco Berry's still here. So that's everybody in the chat.
Yeah, man. Well, Redman or Dave got a little intro for a little Red's book segment here.
Let's see what we have.
Yeah, talk about financial responsibility. I mean, that's the big lesson, right? And being financially responsible, making good decisions, and doing your research. All right.
Who did that?
Wow.
Tony.
That wasn't me.
Who did that?
Yep, 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 yep. Yep, yep, yep. Anyways,
Go for
Goes up a little bit over
Top
here.
left, maybe.
What the heck, man?
a little bit of tough love. Hey, so yeah. So if you got a 4 to 14-year-old in your life and you want to teach them about Bitcoin, you can buy either the Bridge of Bitcoin or the Tale of the Tricky Wolf and the Wise Boy, and you can start talking about Bitcoin with your kids. I mean, that's what this is all about. We want to foster good financial habits in the family unit, and one of those ways is teaching those kids when they're young. I think Bitcoin came out when I was 30, so I'd already adopted bad financial habits, right? So if you can catch the kids when they're 4 to 14 and they start thinking about Bitcoin at that age, they're going to be looking pretty good by the time they get to 18, 19, 20, 21. So I believe both these books are great ways to get them started, get them excited about a new technology. And Billy, I'll send it back over to you.
No, you can have any books at the Bitcoin show, Red?
I'm gonna bring a couple out there. I'm gonna get a couple more. Yeah, I want to bring like 5 out there. So 5 lucky people, giver's gain, baby. So 5 lucky people will go home with my book.
So yeah, if you guys are coming, if anybody's at the show and you see us, come on up and get a picture with us, and hopefully we have some books with us and we can sign one of them, and we'd love to get them out there into your hands. So also thinking about the show before we get into DDT, we'll roll into him. Crash, we're going to go into DDT and then we'll come to you. But with the show later today, if you're going to the show, we're going to give away one of my industry pass. The industry pass is, Jimmy, I don't know, was it like $1,500, right? Like today, I think like we bought them, they were whatever, $700 or something. But like if somebody was going and trying to buy industry pass right now, I think it's like $1,500. So I'm going to give that away today in the chat. But here's how it's going to work. You're going to meet me at the show. So to get it, we'll hook up on private DMs. I'll meet you at the show. We'll transfer it right there to you, because I don't want to send it out and have somebody just sell it and make some money on it or something like that. I'll meet you at the show. We'll transfer it over. We'll get it done. So anybody needs a ticket, want a free one, and it is industry pass ticket, we're going to give that away a little bit later on in the show today. With that, let's bring up our main man, DDT. What's going on, Darren? Good to see you, my friend.
Good evening. I think I'm looking a bit rosy this evening. The lighting's a bit weird. Yeah, all good. How's everyone?
Good. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, all good.
I don't know if you got the private message to have a Bitcoin gold chart ready.
I have not looked at Bitcoin, but I've not looked at gold, but I can quickly throw something up.
The Bitcoin / gold pair, just to see what that would look like. Now, not to start, we can hit Bitcoin, of course, as first, but I thought that'd be interesting because a lot of the X spaces that I'm on with some of the traders, they're really not YouTube traders. They're more X space traders that there's like a whole group of those guys.
Yeah.
One of them, Bits of Wealth, he he always, during that whole Solana run where Solana was just dominating, a year ago, he was always comparing Solana Bitcoin. And now what everyone seems to be doing is looking at Bitcoin Gold, or Gold Bitcoin, whichever way you want to do it. But it's interesting just to see the dynamics between those two. But yeah, let's get into some Bitcoin, DDT.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I'm trying to figure out where Bitcoin Gold was. I have shared the chart for now.
Okay. All right.
So DDT, quickfire TA. Frankly,
Oh,
quickly on Bitcoin. So obviously, I think I've said it a few times, maybe people that have seen me over the week or kind of in Frankie's premium. 2-day money flow faked out. That was kind of our upside kind of potential, or more upside potential at this point. Get that 2-day money flow to cross. We kind of getting the higher time frame red dots now. So we had the 2-day a few days ago, kind of Thursday, that confirmed. It's looking for a slight kind of rollover with more red dots coming, or if they do come, obviously. But the red dots aren't really going to do much because you're in a violent uptrend. So for me, obviously, they'll just be ebbs and flows, as Frankie kind of always points out. Kind of the dots are the ebbs and the flows. The money flow directs the trend. We just been range bound, and I know Dave Digital had just kind of shown this range. Literally, it's been a range trader's paradise. Short when you're below the kind of value area low, long when you're, long when you're below the val, and short when you're above the VAR. It's like this whole range has been a moneymaker. I've kind of been catching a few trades here and there, and a few, presume a few others have. If you've either been kind of watching me or Frankie or anyone else at range trades, even Jason, Casper, they've also been kind of range trading this. So yeah, for the most part, Sunday scam pump. I do not know why, but yeah, obviously they took out all the Friday shorts. What we didn't really get on Bitcoin this week was obviously we set the Monday range. Where's this? Yeah, so we did that. So yeah, we set the Monday range, Monday high, Monday low, and we didn't kind of get back down to the Monday low. So when we came back up to the Monday high, this was obviously a given. Seeing that we've just been kind of front running the Monday range, the echelons of them, it was always going to reject the kind of up. And yeah, a few of us got short, or something. I was saying to my guys kind of in Frankie's. I did a live last night, just I was bored, and I had a few people in from kind of the community. And I was just saying this Monday high or Monday low, whatever hits first is kind of your first real kind of decent trade. So yeah, I'm currently short, but not quite 105.8, but yeah. So for the most part, I'm still thinking now because futures is open. I'm not really seeing what we kind of close to the CME open. So the CME closed at 103.7-ish, and kind of just still been range trading basically for the whole weekend. Although the only thing that was kind of giving it away that we may pump kind of, or it was setting up that way, is all of this. There was a whole lot of bullish absorptions. Obviously, people were shorting into this, and then obviously they got absorbed by spot or bigger whale orders, and yeah, yeeted up. So it's to me now. I always do Control Z's and it doesn't do anything. So for the most part, at this point, there's obviously been the news about the Moody's downgrade. That for me, having spoken to a few friends, a few connections, they still think, obviously lots of people are calling it a nothing burger. I think we are going to come down a bit. And that's healthy, right? It needs to come down. So obviously kind of 102.7, where we kind of had all of this bearish bullish absorption, kind of like the weekend low for now. It's kind of probably where I'm thinking we come down to, because obviously we've deviated up. We've had kind of a 15-minute bearish divergence literally straight into this Monday high. We did have longs gig along in the top as well, kind of as they do. People just don't know order flow and just kind of get FOMO. So it makes sense for me for price to come down to like 102.7. Obviously lower targets just quickly. Obviously the Monday low 100.600. We have a golden pocket, which is the full retrace down to 98.97k, and then obviously kind of last line in the sand is this 96 value area high. This is kind of the lowest I would want it to come down, because as soon as you start breaking this whole zone of price structure, that's when you start putting in higher time frame lower highs. So market structure wise, we still maintain a decent uptrend. We kind of have opportunity to go for new all-time highs if we kind of can hold like 96, 97K. Although obviously, as with it being so bullish, could we get that? Possibly, not possibly. You just kind of have to assess as prices coming down. But I'm thinking now for this kind of to set up the higher low for us to go higher and make a new all-time high and kind of get into, obviously we are in banana season, whatever they call it. So up only season. So the pullbacks might be shallow, but generally anything between 96 and 100K is kind of good for more upside, maintaining decent bullish structure. But the cool off is required basically. Eventually bulls will run out of momentum. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. And did you only want to look at Bitcoin or gold, or kind of gold by itself?
And
And
just
then
Bitcoin, gold, GLD.
the upside targets, obviously the issue is obviously it's going to be fib extensions. But yeah, just to quote Frankie, I think there's Fibonacci extensions between 107 and 108. Yeah. So based on, I can quickly do it on the, let me just put the fib. There's trend base there. So like, yeah, there's this fib, trend base fib between 107.6 and 108.5 is kind of between 107 and 108 is kind of the next kind of logical point. Obviously, it's not quite all-time high, but also as well, the highest close candle that we've had close to all-time high was about 106.200. So yeah, kind of anything up there is basically kind of also as well. It's kind of price discovery, but also as well, it's possible to start hedging short there. So yeah, not financial advice, but obviously kind of if you see the signs to short, like you have to, or what I do is I hedge. Well, I try to hedge. So this short now is a hedge against other positions that I'm already in long, or kind of spot positions, just to kind of protect my downside if we do come down. But yeah, that's Bitcoin. Sorry, Billy, what was the gold chart or the gold Bitcoin chart? Bitcoin gold chart, sorry.
Yeah, Bitcoin gold. You should be able to just type BTC/GLD, I believe, or
XAU.
Okay.
Oh God, let's look at it. Yeah, Bitcoin gold literally hit an all-time high, probably 24.
Look at that. It came way down. Look at that. It's been coming down. Now it's
yeah, but this is this whole with the uncertainty in the markets. Obviously, the hedge to safety is still gold for the most part, or kind of silver, kind of less, but somewhat as well.
What's the date down there at the bottom there? At the yeah, right there with the green. Yeah, what is that?
It'll be April. This is the April lows.
So there Bitcoin, you go.
And also as well, conversely, if we had to, let me just pull this up.
April 2nd, man. You know, everyone remembers what happened on April 2nd. So,
and you'll probably, let me just move this up. You'll probably, I'll actually switch to the actual gold chart. You'll probably see here that gold topped around that time as well. So it's all confluent in regards to, or gold USD chart topped around that time. I don't really. It's probably rejecting off a golden pocket, but
yeah, that's going to form a cup and handle, man. That handle's going to come down about 25% there, and you watch. I mean, because that puts you later in. What time frame are you on right there?
This is just the daily time frame.
Yeah. So, you know, I wonder if we start to see whenever Bitcoin peaks, whenever that's going to be, right? So we don't all know, but I wonder what that thing's going to look like once Bitcoin peaks, how much is going to pour into gold after that.
Gold isn't a risk on asset though. That's the
store
the
value,
thing. That's,
right?
Yeah, it's the key thing to. So if you have got big hedge funds or kind of obviously big institutional players that can kind of use Bitcoin and gold as a mechanism to kind of hedge and to kind of maximize the investments, then yes, they'll be flipping and flopping between the two. So yeah, for the most part, It is. Oh, sorry, I haven't looked at the oscillators. Yeah, it's. But Bitcoin Gold as well is about to get a daily cross, give or take on the money flow. 4 hour. Or you really got to watch. Yeah, 4 hours way green and still going thick. So at this point as well, Bitcoin will still outpace gold.
Yeah.
Probably the next week to 2 weeks. I think there's enough certainty now or probably can say it in jest, but there should be enough certainty specifically in regards to like tariffs and stuff. There was lots of uncertainty and volatility, so everyone kind of hedged their way to gold. So now that there's kind of some clarity, you probably find obviously, and also as well, look at like the memes, look at the risk on assets, other risk on assets of just S&P was like almost dead and dying, and then literally out of nowhere back up 20%, 25% in the space of a few weeks. So yeah, it looks as if it's probably still got, I would say, a week to 2 weeks at least till it gets to here. Obviously, the key point is 34. Yeah, 34. I don't know how it measures it. 34 units. So it's not that much higher, really.
It's gonna be fascinating once
looking like
Bitcoin
5-6%
hits its high, and then and to watch that chart basically invert once we hit the all-time high. Like whenever the end of this cycle is over, and then for the following year to see what's going on with that gold chart. It's just because people are going to move to something. They're going to move to dirt, houses, gold. They're going to move to something, and it'd be interesting to see how this plays out once that happens.
Yeah, gold as well literally has just come back down to support. So there was a key breakout support on the 4 hour breakout, and then obviously it's literally just way back down and still holding there. So gold's breakdown literally will happen if it starts closing 4 hour candles below this 31.67 on the US dollar pair. So Bitcoin gold literally, needs to, for that to happen, it's going to need to, or for gold to break down more, it's going to have to break this high. Although I'm not too sure how the unitary measures them, but you can see it's obviously hitting resistance now. If Bitcoin breaks out against this now, Bitcoin breaks out to gold now, or kind of when it does, it will make sure gold will drop probably below the 31.67 against the gold dollar pair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's kind of gold in a nutshell. But obviously, Bitcoin is outperforming it currently on the kind of give or take the last 6 weeks.
Bitcoin conference is coming, so
pump into Bitcoin conference, sell the news, the general trade usually, and also as well, I think there are a few more bullish, call it more bullish speakers. I think the quality of the speakers and the panels, they've obviously got better speakers and stuff. Kind of people in government. Like last year, there was only only Trump and Junior. Wasn't many other really kind of government influential people there.
No, you had Emmer was there, and oh god, what was the other guy's name? I can't think of it right now. But this year,
it's clear to see that there's a lot more. There's definitely a lot more.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I'd say the quality. I'm interested to see if at the conference there's going to be the same buzz that there was last year. I don't know if that was campaign related and Trump showing up, or if it's just really building that head of steam.
And it's the first year, but obviously last year was ETF, but now obviously it's kind of, that's not that it's died down, but obviously there's other more pertinent stuff that probably these government people and kind of people
like
kind of in
key Bitcoin reserves
are going to be talking about. Kind of, it's going to be the main topics. Key reserve, stockpile, all those type of things.
Back to your gold chart, I think that was 31.67. So 1 ounce of gold times 31.67 would be your Bitcoin price. So it's going to take 31.67 ounces of gold to equal 1 Bitcoin.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think if the math is right. Yeah. But it seems like it. At the moment now, Bitcoin is trading at, what's it, like 32.3 ounces of gold is 1 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
which is about
So-
right, 100,000 give or take, and it's probably like 3,000 something a gold ounce of gold. So yeah, mathing.
Yep. All right, brother. Well, we appreciate
Cool.
that. We do have a special guest we got to get to. Unless you guys have anything else that you want DDT to hit real quick on the charts.
No, man.
I'm good. I can always pop back in later.
DDT.
I'll hang on the call if that's okay. On
Yeah,
on
of
the
course.
stream.
Yeah.
In the background, and yeah, if you need me back on, just pull me back on.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Sounds
cool,
good.
guys. Thank you.
DDT.
Well, guys, we have a special guest today. We have a little community spotlight, Dave Digital. If you want to hit that, we'll do a little intro for Dark Crash. He's muted. Dave's muted. He must be saying yep, yep, yep. There we go.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
What's going? Yeah, we hear you just fine. How are you,
Loud and
Sean?
clear.
Dark Crash?
Very good. Exhausted. I just had an amazing gym session again. Dave Digital. I'm hitting up the gym 6 days a week, if you already know.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So-
6 days a week. That's a lot, bro.
Yeah, and I'm starting new week. Starting new work next week, so it's going to be exciting and try and incorporate that into night gyms.
Wow. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
luck, bro. You can do it. Anything we
Mhm.
want, we can do. Anything we set
Exactly.
our
That's the
mind to.
hustle. Mhm.
That's it.
But are you eating avocados like Dave?
I literally just had avocado toast, so
Let's go.
that's
Well, we
hilarious.
got to know you a little bit, Sean, during the book. You were telling us the story. Obviously, that's in our NFT book. If anybody's interested
Right.
in learning more about that, we'll talk about it some other time. But you talked about it there. And recently, you and I talked a little bit about different things. But why don't you give us a little introduction? Tell us a little bit about you, what you want to share with the group.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm no government official. I don't run any company. I'm just your average Joe, right? But basically, who I am, I'm 31 years old, born and raised out of Alberta, Canada. And my life started humbly in retail. So I spent over 9 years with IKEA. So I did a lot of retail work there. And that led into my choice of trying to go for supply chain management for my degree, which I succeeded in, rightfully so, and decided to transition over to industrial and construction supplies, which was a big transition. Obviously, along the line there, I'm thinking money. What am I going to do with my money? How am I going to make it grow? So I started thinking about investment vehicles, financial packages, all that sorts of stuff. First thing I actually bought was a government bond. So that's where my financial journey initially started. And throughout my working career, I've been branching out and investing in different areas, including stocks. I never really got into options. That wasn't really my thing, but I did obviously dump a large percentage of my portfolio over into crypto. So that's generally my my thing. And obviously outside of all this, I do love to ski. So that's one of my personal hobbies.
So when did you get into crypto? What year?
About 5 years ago. So I wish I'd got in on the March dump. I saw it happen. I knew everything was really tasty, and it was an amazing grab, March 2020. Everybody knows. But I got in about February 2021. So I missed the main vehicle, the main bus there, but I did still get in. I learned my lesson, did dollar cost averaging. That was my primary way of getting into the market. I did obviously want to play a little bit of leverage, but that comes with some inherent risk, right? As we all know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I know all of us also really want to know, where did the drink more water start?
I actually have no idea. It just it was on Frankie's stream. That's where it all originated, right? So I just started to say to drink water, and then some people started to pick up on it. I'm like, all right, this is a thing I can start to repeat. So I just started to repeat it, and everyone just started to pick up on it. Then I'm like, sweet, this is my motto. So I just kind of rolled with it. And it's simple. It's really simple. You know,
Yeah,
no one
man.
can really brand it.
Yeah, I'm definitely a different person when I haven't drank enough water for the day. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I
Definitely
just went
proud-
through like
proud
3
of
of these trying to prepare for this because I have, presentation anxiety. It's messing with my throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I when you first started posting drink more water, I was steadily drinking several of these full of sweet tea every day, and I adamantly voted against drinking more water. But now this
Nice.
thing is full of water every day, 4 times
Yeah.
at least. You know how it goes. No more liquid calories.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, man.
So we
So
see
many good
crash.
things.
Oh, go ahead, Tony.
I was just gonna say, so many good things come out of Frankie Candle's channel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful human being.
Oh yeah.
Go for it, Billy.
Well,
No,
we'll find
Frankie's
out
the
about that at the conference.
Is he going to be there? Did he say he's going to? Last I heard, he wasn't going.
I mean, he's back and he's forth. He's back and he's forth. I think Golden's going to make him go.
I hope he goes. I'd
Okay.
like to see Frankie again.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Learned a lot from him, and obviously I've learned a lot from CryptoFace, which is where most of my knowledge comes from. I got the base how do I say this? The base strategy like completely locked down. One thing I love pointing out is divergences. That's been like the main theme of the last few years, is everyone seems to like pointing out divergences. And we've had some on the daily. I don't know. Hang on. Let's see if I can get my chart going here, if that's all right with you guys.
Yeah, bring up some charts. And
Tony
you know, for
specifically
those that,
said don't. Tony said don't let him start. He specifically said that.
he's messing with you.
All right. I think I got
Good.
it rolling here.
Yeah, I got too many people trying to bring it up for you.
You go, Dave.
I didn't do it yet.
Cool. All right. So this is going to be a noisy chart. I recently acquired the most premium version of TradingView, so you can clearly see that there are some automated channels being drawn there. So bear with me as I try to, oops, wrong window. That would make a lot more sense. There we go. So as I was just saying about divergences, this we're looking at here is the daily chart on Heikin-Ishii candles. So one thing I've noticed, particularly with channels, thanks to the auto drawer, is they go in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type format before they break out and they start a new range, and you got to kind of understand where they might range to. So particularly here, we see that once it hits 5, okay, typically once you hit the wall, you're going to retract. You don't normally break out. Not normally, but you do. For example, over here, number 5, you broke out. But in this case, we had a retracement right down to a spider line of mine, and then a wick down, as we see all the way on the left, to a level. So this is kind of like a golden zone knife drop if you wanted to catch that. But again, the divergence that I wanted to point out was here. Excuse me. It builds from here, and it kind of rides to right here before you see the switch. And you can notice the bullish divergence right there, and also another one over here. And that's one type of thing that I've been using as a way to get in the markets. I do spot buying again, not leverage trading. So yeah, typically I base my decisions off of divergences, much like the others. And you can clearly see on the very far right of the chart that we now also have what I believe is going to be a third hump and possibly a third green dot forming. We have really intense strength. We have the momentum coming down into the 50-60 range, which is typically where we trigger dots. And the money flow is just screaming green, and we have a VWAP curving up. So even though there's a bit of resistance here in this area, having not touched our spider line yet, I still feel like there's at least a spike up, and we might even crest over 110. Quite honestly, we might wick over it, is my prediction. Of course, not financial advice, but yeah. Let's just move this little tool here. It's in my way. There. I'm going to switch up to the weekly chart real quick and kind of show you where I came with these spider lines. So going all the way back to 2017 and whatnot is kind of how I started drawing them. Let's get rid of these real quick. Trend to scope, go away. Thank you. So CryptoFace taught us all this. You take the ray tool, you slap it on the candle, and you bend it down until it hits the first candle. And that's generally how I was able to come up with these trend lines. And why did I paint this one red, you might ask? Well, if we look over here, it literally is the bear market. That's one thing I've been quite ecstatic on is once we made it through here into CryptoFace's DBSI and underneath my spider line is I realized we were ranging like this is time. This is the decision moment. If Bitcoin doesn't cross above the red line, then we're in for some hell. We're in for some real deep pain. But we broke that and it just rocketed right up. And as soon as it started to find more support, both on the EMAs and the spider lines respectively, I knew we were off to the races. And then we had this massive explosion factor here as well. So that's just kind of what I wanted to show you guys on my charts today, as well as the note about trends being in 5 points, as well as yeah, on the daily here, we almost have the 3 humps in momentum. So we're about to get that 3rd hump. I'm thinking the 3rd push up. So I'm long personally, but of course, I always like my buying opportunities just like the next guy.
No, Crash, I agree with you 100%. I'm thinking for sure we're going to hit the actually 111 on what I got it pegged at 111. And everything you're pointing out there with the divergences and the money flow and the momentum, I'm totally in agreement, dude, with your presentation there, 100%, man. So it's hard to. Everybody's got to do their own thing, and everybody's different, right? Everybody reads the charts differently. Everybody uses their different confluences differently, but in general, we all are looking at the same thing, and it's interesting when people can get to the same conclusion with a little more emphasis on different things. Like my big thing for me is money flow. Like of all the confluences for me, I heavily weight money flow. But you got other traders that do, put a lot of weight on RSI or the Stokes or the VWAP or, all of that. So it's interesting, man. So we haven't talked, right? And I'm sitting there listening to you and I'm like, dude, that's exactly how I'm seeing it. So that's awesome, man. Really cool.
Been playing the market. Well, not really playing the markets, been engaged with the markets for 4+ years now. So I definitely have my feet wet, and I'm swimming good. I think I'm definitely well in the money on the Bitcoins, and hoping the altcoins start to crawl up again there. But we all know they're still bleeding against Bitcoin, and there are some popping off right now. It's clearing the bubbles, as I saw earlier. But yeah, hopefully the ones I chose pop off soon.
Do you share your charts anywhere in any of the Discords, like a Frankie's Discord, or can we
not links, but I've shared screenshots. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Mainly,
but I will be sharing links from time to time. I was planning on also developing some shorts.
Crash is getting into the scene. Well, you're always welcome here, man. That's awesome. We love doing community spotlights, especially somebody that's kind of got a passion for crypto and a passion for trading or passion for NFTs or passion for nodes or, mining coming out of, the communities that we're in. We love it, man. We love bringing people on that have a passion and want to share it with us. And it's just great to get to know you a little bit.
Thank you. It's great to be a part of this panel and great to see you.
And Crash was talking a lot when we chatted earlier this week. We were just kind of testing out the system and making sure we could share screen right and get through the, the mechanics. I appreciate that too. Just the fact that you wanted to get together and do that. But we talked a lot about, just the fact that we're concerned for people just getting in and people that may have even been in for a while, that just to make sure that people budget themselves, in general, so that they don't over leverage into crypto or other investments and then have to sell off so that they can pay daily bills. And so did you want to talk a little bit on just the importance of that and how you developed your, own method of making sure you stay solvent?
Yeah, actually, I have a very interesting and personal life story to share in that regard, which I can go over really quickly. And also it'll tie into security of your assets as well. So how do I say this? Being solvent and the importance of being able to pay your bills while maintaining your investments is key, absolutely key, especially when you're planning for, how do I say this? Potential terms of unemployment. So recently, as early as February 10th, I was in fact let go by my previous employer. It was a very difficult situation, a terrible Monday to walk in, but I did walk out of there with severance. So I was still, happy, able to jump on EI and survive that way. So that's a little bit of a personal side of me there. And when I talk about solvency and being able to pay your bills, there's the whole concept of trying to save up enough cash so that you're at least solvent for 3 months and also able to not necessarily live off the EI, but that's simply a support, right? You got the cash stack for 3 months and then you got a little bit of EI to kind of give you that leeway to get you going. It's kind of like your rainy day fund, more or less. So having that bit of piggy bank, for lack of better words, is exactly what you need to stay solvent, keeping in mind also your daily expenses. That is also a very important thing in terms of both phone bills, gas bills, your time. Of course, that's a very valuable asset that a lot of people also forget is their time. And if you're not spending it right, you're not able to make that extra money. So that being said, just keep yourself adjusted. Stay on the straight and narrow, and just realize that if your expenses are going past your income, then you might need to start taking a step back and realizing what you're spending on, both on your investments as well as like your personal life goods. And more specifically for me, back between February and now, I haven't been able to invest a huge amount, but what I did keep my eye on was my trading goals and putting in at least 3 trades through my bank a month, and also at least 2 or 3 auto buys for some crypto. So just putting little things out there, kind of turning the dial a little bit, and just adjusting to your life circumstances is something that I believe is very important, so people don't run bankrupt.
Yeah, Billy talks a lot about that type of stuff in our motivational mindset, and obviously also we have as a group as well. So thank you for being with us today, Dark. And the rest of the panel, do you have any other questions or comments you want to make?
Oh, I just wanted to slide in and say I'm starting new work Tuesday.
Awesome.
New work. You mean a new job? Or?
Yes, so I'll be working with Wolseley, the plumbing wholesaler.
Nice. Didn't you say you were something to do with Fastenal at one time?
Yes, Fastenal, the industrial construction supplier.
Yeah. We used them somewhat at our home building company. Yeah, big company. Fastenal's big company.
Very impressive. Yeah.
All right, Crash. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for taking the time to stop in, man. Great getting to know you, brother. We love it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Good to have you.
Appreciate you, son. Talk
Drink
to you
more
later.
water.
Adios.
Yep.
Drink more water.
Jimmy, why don't you just go ahead and play that video so our chat can understand what the hell you're talking about, man? Who pulled that up earlier?
The chat is ready for this.
Does no one in the chat know what that is from?
Dude, it's been so long I forgot.
Billy
about
didn't
it.
even know what that
Yeah, I
was
was like,
from.
I don't even know if I remember all that.
Whenever I hear
Pull it
yip,
back
yip,
up.
yip, yip, I think of doing the worm and polka.
Let's see
Yeah,
here.
I didn't think someone might know that.
Dave's pulling it up, right?
The backyardigans. It would be a yip, 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 doing the worm and polka.
Yeah, I got it pulled back up. Hang on. Oh my goodness.
Let's go.
Where is
Sesame
my,
Street
there it
in
is.
the house.
Well, someone's got to tell the backstory as to how it came up.
I wasn't there.
It was before the show. Tony was having some technical issues that made everybody else but him echo. And Tony asked him, he was like, "Can you hear me?" And then Dave said, "Yep." And it just kept reverberating. It was going, "Yep, yep, 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 yep." And I was like, like you're making this sound like the Sesame Street Martians. Well, no one knew who the Sesame Street Martians were. And I was like, oh my goodness, who am I hanging out with? I don't know who this is. But let's see here. Let me share this. Whoops. Share screen. There we go. There we go.
Wayne C liked it. Crabman liked it.
That's good stuff.
There's Jesse. Jesse, we thought you were needing sleep, man. Good to see you.
If you knew the context of how and why that was brought about, you would be crying right now. You'd be laughing so hard. Jimmy tried to explain it, but it really doesn't do it justice, does it, Jimmy? Like
you had to be here. It was pretty damn funny.
He had to be there. Well, let's get into let's get into a little more crypto talk before we get into all this. But we do want to talk, Dave, about the October 13th trip that Poe Man won.
We do. We want to talk about the weekend at Billy's?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, the weekend at Billy's. Here's an evening sunset view of Lake Hartwell. So the team will be staying, and Poe Man will be joining us in October for having the Easter egg from our NFT collection. So there are I'll just say roughly 10%. There's not exactly 10%, but there's roughly 10% of the NFTs have an Easter egg. And I think we had just over 20 people that were entered into a drawing this year. And Po-Man will be joining us on this weekend because he was the winner. And we're also going to be going to a what type of event, Billy?
Foodie
event.
Oh, there it is.
no,
There it is.
all
There's
for
the
the-
echo.
Is it back? A
Can
foodie
you hear me
event,
now?
all
Can you
for
hear me now?
Greenville on October. Oh, I think we're going on the 11th. We'll see what day of the week that is. I think on Saturday we're going. And I still keep looking. They haven't. Stay tuned for the 2025 music lineup. So it's still not out yet, but I'm sure we'll show you once it is.
Yeah, and Pullman won the trip, man. So, and I'm getting an echo. Now.
I
There
gotta
goes
say-
Tony.
I
There
gotta
goes
say-
Tony. Making everybody echo.
Is it
Everybody
me?
echo.
You got to fix that, Tony. Okay. It's
Shouldn't-
I see Emma in the chat. Hola, Emma.
Yeah.
Hey,
Emma Corner. Emma's
Yeah,
in here.
sure.
Uncle Billy, Uncle Jimmy. Hey, Emma, good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Tell your dad to come on over and say, hey,
Yep.
we got French toaster. You know, you guys do know the original pop-up notification, French toaster. Love you, French toaster. Good to see you. Erica, good to see you. Appreciate you guys for stopping in. Let's get
Oh,
into
wait, that's a dad joke. That was a dad joke. Pop-up toaster. Pop-up notification. I get it now.
you finally get that, Dave? The original
Oh.
pop-up notification, French toaster.
Get it.
Yep.
That's good, Billy.
Ow.
Ow.
I'm trying to keep
Yeah.
it.
Oh man, we've lost it. We've lost the show. I knew that would happen, man. As soon as you played that, Jimmy, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna stick." Good stuff. Bro. Just having fun. One of the articles that we wanted to get in today, and if you guys have heard, was the French exchange over there. His daughter, what was his name? Pierre. His daughter, Pierre Noizat, CEO's daughter was attempted to get kidnapped. Why? So that they can hold her for ransom for this guy's fortune in crypto. And we're starting to see or hear about this kind of crazy stuff where, hey, they're crypto billionaires and they think they're going to get a piece of the action by, kidnapping the daughter or the aunt and uncle or son. And there's other stories that have been popping up about that. So it's one of the things that was trending. What do you think about that, Dave? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I think, one of the things as Americans, I'm sure we get a lot of propaganda. Some of the propaganda that we've gotten in the past was the French aren't really the toughest, the strongest, the people that are stand up for you. But from what the article says, the reason that they didn't get away with the kidnapping, her and his granddaughter, is because the bystander stepped in and stopped it. So hats off to the French people, but it is crazy, Billy, that, okay, not your keys, not your crypto. Well, what happens when I got your daughter? That's crazy. That's people, we know it here, of course, in the States, that people will rob you for absolutely nothing, depends on their situation and what's going through their head at the time. So, but to see it on a larger scale like that, it's scary. Would they have done the same thing if they knew he had gold and he kept it in a safe deposit box? Maybe not.
Yeah, there's just something about they think that like crypto they're going to be able to get away with it versus like gold or dollars. But for some reason, crypto, and if you guys don't know, I'll read this to you. It says 4 masked men attacked the 34-year-old daughter, her husband, and their 2-year-old child in broad daylight around 8:20 a.m. The assailants emerging from a white van branded with Chronopost, which is a postal delivery firm, logos, attempted to force the woman and her child into the vehicle. And the woman reportedly 5 months pregnant. She's 5 months pregnant, resisted grabbing and discarding an airsoft gun dropped by one of the attackers. So they had airsoft guns. Her husband fought off the assailants, sustaining a fractured skull and facial injuries, but requiring only stitches. A local bicycle shop owner intervened with the fire extinguisher, helping thwart off the attackers. It's just crazy. All three victims, the daughter, her husband, and the child, sustained light injuries and were treated at the local hospital. The daughter was treated for shock, and her husband's face was treated for some minor injuries there. But yeah, that was in the news. That is trending, and there's even in this article they're saying it's kind of escalating, these attacks of crypto related violence, because people hear that you are made fortunes in crypto and they think they're going to come forward. And thank goodness the people helped, and these people fought back and prevented something that could be tragedy, for the family happening.
Yeah, Billy, I did a little research on Pierre because I had no idea who that was. I'd never heard that name before. Turns out he co-founded Paymium in 2011, one of the world's first Bitcoin exchanges and Bitcoin payment solution providers. So I did a little research on Paymium. Paymium only offers 11 coins, and it does that because the CEO, Mr. Pierre, only believes that those 11 coins are worth buying. Basically is what it comes down to. It's because so he's worried about security. And that's the biggest thing with crypto. Blockchain is transparent. So everything that you have is on a blockchain somewhere and everybody else can see it. If you can follow the money, you can find out who that person is. And so this has been happening in France to a couple different people. This isn't the first time they've tried to kidnap people who are high profile crypto entrepreneurs. So I thought that was very interesting. Pierre has been around since he's one of the beginning big Bitcoin people in the space. So
yeah, we tend to hear mostly about the mostly American Bitcoiners, right? The guy or European, from England or the proper. So it's I didn't know that name either. I didn't know that guy. I didn't know that exchange either myself. So yeah.
Well, just like we know of the Bitcoin Standard, he's actually written a book. Pierre actually wrote a book that's translated to like the Bitcoin user manual or the Bitcoin user guide. So, obviously he's maybe more well known in Europe than here, but very big proponent.
Yeah, I just invited Emma up. I don't know if she has you better have your setup ready to go, Emma, because I know you got a good setup. I know you got a good setup now. So we'd love to get you up here. She's Emma, of course, is going to be starting her own channel soon. And of course, she's always on X. And Emma needs fed always. So we got to make sure we're feeding Emma.
Come on, Emma.
So
I got some chicken nuggies up here. I know you
And
like
Big
chicken
Randy.
nuggies. Come on up here.
let's give a shout out to Big Randy as well.
Yep, Papa Randy. Good to see you. Is he in here? I didn't see. Is he?
He's
Yeah.
here.
All right. Good to see you, Randy. Good to see you, brother.
And Emma's been on that next level grind too. So every day you see her in the gym, just banging it out. And we started around the same time. So that's exciting to see.
So I wonder if Emma's eating avocados too. Dave Digital Avocado. You should have your own orchard of avocados. Dave Digital's avocados. There we go. Everybody would just buy those.
The big avocados, not the little ones with the big seeds, but the big avocados with little seeds. If you can make those, I'm good.
Yep.
Did you see the comment?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Yeah,
He's
she
not
said
home.
she ain't at home.
Oh, okay. So, what do you guys think about the USA credit rating downgrade by Moody's? How's that going to impact us in crypto? Is it at all going to impact us? What do you think about it?
The last time it happened was August of 2023 is when we were downgraded to an AA1, and Bitcoin saw a pretty substantial dip afterwards, which kind of backs up a little bit of my thesis there, Dave Digital, about seeing lower prices for Bitcoin here in the near future. But we'll see what happens.
Dave
Yeah,
must be
temporary
playing.
bump. Temporary bump on the road, if anything.
Yeah. How many of these have we been a part of? I mean, it's happened, numerous times, and it always happens right before some sort of continuing resolution to extend the budget, right? And everything goes back to normal, it seems, right? So Congress is up against a lot of deficit spending and a lot of decisions to make on what they're going to do with all of these crypto related topics as well, the reserve, the Stablecoin Act, but also just the massive amount of overspending, which always means we have to increase the budget, do a continuing resolution to pay the main bills, the military, keep the lights on kind of thing, so that then Congress can get back and convene and then ultimately pass a larger budget. I mean, it's just like a cycle, man. It seems like every 8 years or so it happens, and I don't think it's that big a deal, simply because it's happened so many times in the past, and we always find a way to overcome it and keep on motoring forward. Hopefully this time we can really get to some more of a libertarian kind of stance with the budget and get this under control. And I think Bitcoin's going to be part of getting the United States' budget under control in the end. But massive change has to happen to make that happen for sure.
Yeah, nice little
Go ahead.
nice little 25% correction wouldn't be bad, for right now. And then it would definitely, in the next month or two, we could start looking at higher prices. But yeah,
Are you calling for 80K, bro?
I'm not. There's a lot of resistance to get to 80K. We still need to hit 102 and all those other levels. But yeah, it would be nice to see that. I wouldn't mind it.
And by nice, you mean you have a truck that you want to just back up?
I want to pull up the truck. Yeah. At 80K. Yeah. No, I'm just playing. I don't. But it would be nice.
Well, we lost our fearless leader.
Really
On
was,
the
man.
tinfoil hat side of
Yep.
things,
Yep.
am I doing it again?
Billy
No, we
was.
can hear you just fine.
No, we lost Billy. And he was like, "We lost Billy," and I was like, "Yep."
Yeah. So
There he
There
is.
he is.
boom, just clicked off. So we do want to give, I don't know if anyone in the chat is going to the Bitcoin conference. I don't know if you need a ticket or not, but if you do, I have an industry pass ticket. It's like a $1,500 ticket. We're going to give it away right now. Now, there's some rules. If you win, you're going to meet me at the Bitcoin conference, and I'm going to transfer it to you right at the front desk there. When you check in, you go get your credentials, and we're going to meet there. And that's when I'll transfer it to you. I'm going to be there. The whole team's going to be there. We're going to be there. Well, you could go into our Discord. We can DM if you already have my number, or if you already have open communication with me. Great. But if you don't, just go into our Discord, open up a ticket. We'll share the information, and we'll get you the industry pass ticket. So we wanted to give this away. We ended up having press passes for the Billy Goat Tales team. I had already had my ticket, and I want to give it away to our community. So if you want one, I'm going to put, how do you guys want to do? You want to do the number, or that's going to be the fastest way? Somebody's just going to have to pay attention to because I don't
Is
think
there anybody
a lot
in
of
chat?
people that can
Should
go.
we ask them?
No, I think we should just decide ourselves here. And because I don't think there's going to be like a lot of people that can actually go at this late notice, right? But there might be someone thinking about going and they need a ticket. So
Okay, yeah, looks like Erica needs one, so we do have at least
Oh,
one in there.
I could spin the wheel and put everybody's name in the wheel, and then we could ask them, are you going, yes or no? And then we could keep going from there, or we could just do the number thing.
Oh yeah, that seems really short, Tony.
Yeah,
We'll just go backwards. Oh,
we have 8 minutes left in the show, Tony, and we got to get to Jimmy's final thoughts. So consider all those factors.
Yeah,
Dan.
I say drop a number. Drop a number in the private chat. If somebody wants to, if they can go and they want the ticket, they drop a number. Try to get close to it.
All right, let me give you a number in private chat. Okay, the number will be from 1 through 100. You have to guess. You can't go over. If you go over, then somebody else could win, right? So if you can't go over. If you go over, then the next closest wins. Only vote one time. Don't put 6 different votes in there, 6 different numbers. Only vote one time. If you do vote more than once, we're only going to count your first vote.
What's the number, Billy? You got a bunch of numbers in the chat.
Oh,
That's what I was gonna say. Or it's the one number that's below 100. So
yeah.
Okay. The last number?
yeah, the last number.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know if Billy was spinning in his own wheel or what in the chat, but
No, I always keep a tally of the watchers. You know that. So yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so what are we gonna do, Billy? If everybody goes over, but everybody that can go already guess.
Not everybody's gone over, but a few have.
Well, give them some more clues, Tony.
Most are over.
Well,
You can only vote once.
Oh, we're doing prices right without going over?
you can't go over.
Can't go over.
Ah,
Billy confirmed what the number was in the private chat.
mm.
K Diggity says 69 is already taking crap, man. No, if you both guessed the same number, we'd do a draw. If it was the closest, we'd do a draw
Do a
off.
death match.
Death match.
Music.
The closest? Are we doing the closest one? Or
Are all the
Yeah.
votes in?
I mean, I think all the votes are in.
Are all the votes in?
I
Is
put
there
the
a
answer in the
consensus?
chat.
I'll put who I see in the chat.
I think it's only one. Yeah.
Yeah. there's only one.
Yeah, I think so.
The price is
Okay.
right.
And can he go? Let's find out.
Well, if you voted, I hope you can go, because remember, you're going to meet me there. I'm not going to send you a ticket that you can sell for $1,500. I'm going to actually meet you there and give you this, transfer it right there at the desk. It's easy to transfer. So
And if you don't show up, we're going to send Tony Two Fingers to come crack some knees.
Tony the Brick.
Tony the Brick.
How you
get out of here.
Tony the Brick will sell it at the door.
Let's do this. Let's give them time to chew on it. In the meantime, I saw the request there to open a club. And of course, Jimmy is the guy that says yes or no. So what do you say, Jimmy?
Let's go.
Cologne, rebel hearted number one sound. Right now, not now. Baby, tonight.
Yep.
Jeez.
That's not going to go away.
So
I can hear us
are
at the
we
Bitcoin
announcing
conference.
the winner? I mean, are we in in consensus as to who
Flash
the winner
ones
is?
and yep.
Let me see.
Looks pretty flat to me.
Yeah. The number
Dave, you're being
was
awfully smacky.
17, and flat smack that like button, won it. So flat smack, brother. Are you
He is in the
going?
lobby of the Palazzo with a dozen donuts and a grande cappuccino, and we'll give you a ticket.
3 espressos. $1,600.
Yeah, flat smack. Way to go, buddy.
Flat smack, you going, huh? You definitely going?
We will see
Driving?
you
You got a
there.
plane ticket yet? It's gonna cost you $8,000 to fly out there, but
It is.
Around the goal.
Erica, you were close. Erica was close.
yeah, I was rooting for her when she said, "Oh, I need one," and then guess 3 numbers too high.
Something like that.
He goes 5 numbers too high, but
Close enough.
It's
It was too
22.
high.
He's Texas math.
Yep,
We do it differently.
yep.
Texas Instruments math.
Okay, dig. You have to
All
buy
right,
the
Jimmy. If we're gonna get over to Keith, is Keith doing today?
Oh yeah,
$1,500.
don't forget, is Keith in it? No, don't forget, after our show, we have to, you guys go over to Crypto Coin Mindset. They have a great series going on that lines up right after our show. So we want to make sure that we get you guys over there soon, Keith, because, oh, by the way, celebration, we hit over 1,000 subscribers. So we're at, I think, well, where we're at, guys, 1,200, something like that. So we appreciate that. We're working on our watch hours now. We're only have like 400 more hours, 400 some more hours to go, and we'll hit the watch hours. That means we get memberships and we get emojis. And of course, he's not in here today, but our first emoji is going to be the WD-40 can for Rusty Bot, so he doesn't freeze up and rust up on us. We got to keep him lubed up, and Jimmy likes that word. We got to keep him lubed up. So we appreciate all you guys helping us get to that point. We're just beginning. We're just starting. It's great to get over 1,000, so we appreciate that.
Yeah.
And with
Bitcoin's
that,
about to hit 106. Are we going to Jimmy?
Jimmy, you got some final thoughts?
No, man, we'll leave them out. We'll save some. I'll have plenty of things to report back, I'm sure, after next week.
Awesome. All right, Keith, hopefully we did you justice trying to get everybody over to you. Soon we'll be able to forward that redirect to you. So we appreciate you guys. Until next time, we'll see you on the X Space Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.